of Barry's life. And thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Father, and good afternoon, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Tony Hurst. I'm Principal of Emmaus College. I first met Barry way back in 1988. And certainly an honour and a privilege to be able to say a few words about Barry at this incredibly sad time. And I do so on behalf of Barry's many friends and colleagues from Emmaus College, both past and present, and of course on behalf of thousands of students that Barry taught or he influenced during his time as a teacher. And it's very difficult in 5 minutes to do justice to the incredible influence that Barry had during his 40 years at Emmaus College, and prior to that, his time as a teacher at St Thomas More and also Salesian College. I wrote my own reflection about Barry the day I learnt the sad news of his passing last week, and that's available on the Emmaus Melbourne alumni website. It's well worth a read for perhaps a more detailed account of Barry's contribution to Emmaus. So today's going to be a bit of a snapshot and a little bit different to what was on there. Many of you would have read the thousands of tributes on various Facebook sites, and that certainly confirms the influence that Barry had on so many as a teacher. I've received emails from students as far back as the first class from St Thomas More, and Barry taught them in 1971 they were Form 4 Gold. Barry was very much a people's person. He was a great communicator and motivator. He also liked to have fun, especially on school camps. And I was fortunate enough to go on some of these camps with him, as did so many other staff from Emmaus over the years. And as young teachers, he always taught us so much. One of his most frequent tricks on camp was around students and passports. He seemed to do this very often and never seemed to get to the next year level. If we were crossing state in 5 minutes with their passports, the students were hastily looking for them. He told them they were on their packing list, and if you don't have them, we're going to turn back. Eventually those students knew what Barry was up to, and they realised it was a joke. Barry also loved to ham it up as a tour guide on many of these school trips. He would get on the bus microphone and say some of the most ridiculous things, and the students would believe him. An example of this I can easily recall is driving past a BP petrol station in Hobart, and he proudly proclaimed to the students that's the first petrol station in Australia. It was built during the convict era and it's now National Trust heritage. On a Central Australia trip in a place called Burra in South Australia, there's a collection of old rusty windmills. Barry proudly proclaimed that they were the first solar-powered windmills in Australia. One of the brighter students asked, "Where are the solar panels, Mr. Parnell?" And he said, "They're under the ground to keep the dust off them." Students were baffled for the remainder of the trip. On a more serious note, on some of these camps, Barry also demonstrated his selflessness. He was always the last to get any food, making sure that the students and his colleagues were always looked after first. Another camp trait that we long remembered is Barry's ability to stay up for what appeared to be all night to ensure the safety of the students, or perhaps make sure they didn't get up to too much mischief. He was always the last to bed and the first one up. We were all amazed he was able to do this because invariably, at most staff meetings, Barry would find the back corner of our meeting room, and much to the amusement of his colleagues, would nod off. Perhaps not to the same amusement of the person running the meeting. And I noticed in the back of our booklets today there's a nice picture of Barry having a bit of a snooze. When Barry retired from teaching at the end of 2015, I was very keen to still have him involved in Emmaus. As a young school, it's important to build culture and tradition and to pass down its oral. Always had an opinion, perhaps offered some advice, but only if required, or was just that trusting, listening ear. Barry always had the ability to make you feel that he genuinely cared about you. While many of our more recent students might not know Barry as well as some of our older students from previous years, they certainly knew he was somebody special to the school. Each year, while organising what is traditionally a very lively and loud Year 12 final assembly, I've asked the Year 12s, do you want Mr. Parnell for the Pizza Hut song? The students look at me as though I'm stupid for even asking such a question, with a resounding yes. While quirky, this tradition somehow commenced while Barry was Year 7 coordinator and became a whole school tradition after school assemblies when Barry was campus coordinator in Maynes College. Everyone would wait for the then principal, Mr. Fabris, to depart the hall, and Barry would get up and do his thing. It was an enjoyable and secret way for us to finish the formalities of an assembly, and somehow that tradition remained for 25 years. Barry performed this even at the occasional board dinner, much to the bewilderment of some of those present. And on our 40th anniversary gala, on the 14th of March, very recently, Barry got up to perform it one last time. On that evening, Barry was in his element. Many former students, some now in their 50s, sought him out to say hello and recollect the good old days. Reading through the many tributes, the common theme is Barry, a great teacher, an engaging personality, somebody who's humorous, knowledgeable, memorable, a real storyteller, perhaps a bit of a prankster, and sometimes, while on the exterior, a little bit scary, underneath a heart of gold. Barry was Emmaus through and through. He was so generous with his time to the school right until the very end. As a school community, we'd certainly like to thank Tricia and the family for allowing Barry to go away and those he met along the way. Thank you for everything you did for so many. We'll be sorely missed, but long remembered by the Emmaus family.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you very much.